What are you afraid of? That's going to be a question that coaches are going to be hearing me say today when I give one of my presentations a little later on this afternoon, this evening. The presentation is called Playing Time. It's from the third booklet that I ever wrote. Second topic I ever wrote about, though. The first one was a head coach's guide for working with assistants. So then I wrote a second booklet called The Assistant Coach's Guide to Coaching. Same topics, but the third that I actually wrote was a totally different topic called Playing Time. Let's face it, playing time for any of us who coach in a team sport is the biggest issue that we will deal with as coaches. It's the most contentious depending upon the level at which we coach. It's the one area that kids and parents are going to want to come talk to us about the most. You know, of course, the kids who play a lot, it's never going to be an issue, right? I had a parent years ago say to me, I've never had a problem, complain about playing time. But it was like, of course not. Her kids all three were some of the best players in the programs that they were in, and that was never an issue to them. It was an issue to a lot of other people, though, because, it's a tough one. Why do kids play? Because they want to play. And so when they don't get playing time, they deserve to hear why it is that they're not playing. And yet, here's where the question comes into play. I've known my share of coaches who say, we just don't talk about playing time. And, they'll be at their preseason parent-athlete meetings and say, here's what we will talk about and here's what we won't talk about. And usually what we won't talk about are strategy, other kids, and playing time. Strategy, I get it, although even that, I had, in all my years as a basketball coach, I didn't have a ton of parent meetings, but I had a few. Every parent meeting dealt with playing time except for one. And that one was a guy who felt he knew a whole lot more about what I should be doing and we should be running other offenses and this and that because of his vast experience as a doctor. Well, he didn't say it that way, but he was not a coach. But he'd gone to a really strong university in terms of basketball, and not that he played it, but he just felt he knew better than I. It's the only time that a parent meeting I ever had did not deal with playing time. So it's the thing that they want to talk about. What are you afraid of? I go back to. Why wouldn't you talk about it? I know it's not fun. It's not an easy conversation to have, but what I will be saying to these coaches, athletes, and parents, it's a mixture of them all, is if you're not talking about it with them, guess what? They're talking about it with other people. And some of those other people either may have some power and influence over the job that you're doing, or more importantly, may start to think, gosh, what's going on? What is the problem? Why are they doing? And they'll just start formulating their own reasons. I always wanted to dictate where that discussion went. I wanted to say, no, here's exactly why. First, it should start with the kid. The kid should come in and talk, and explain it. But if it doesn't get resolution, I'm okay that the parents may want to come in and talk. And so I wanted to direct that discussion. I wanted to be the one saying, well, here's one. Here's why they play or don't play the amount of time that they do. And one of the slides that will be on the PowerPoint, one of the little things I'll say is, can you imagine? Here it is, the start of the school year when I'm videoing this. Not sure when it'll release to you, but can you imagine if on the open house night, which a lot of schools are going through, I know the school district I'm going to is having theirs tomorrow night, if the teachers were to say, well, thank you for coming in, welcome, blah, blah, blah. They tell about the class and all. And so if you have any questions and if there's anything that you need to talk about your child's situation in our class, feel free to contact me. Here's my phone number. Here's my email address. I'm willing to talk to you about anything except for grades. It's like, well, no, that would be foolish. That's exactly the thing they're going to want to talk about. Just like playing time is exactly the thing that they're going to want to talk about in sports. And so, sorry if it's a little bumpy there. I'm kind of in a bumpy area on this highway. But yeah, it would be ridiculous for a teacher to say that. And I'm, one of those teachers who, yes, I wish the kids would focus more on the learning and the knowledge that they're getting as opposed to the grade. But I get it. The grade matters. They're wanting to get good grades because they might want to go to college and they might want to get scholarship money and they might want to whatever, right? So grades matter. So you would never say, yeah, I'm just not going to talk about grades. Well, we should be the exact same way when it comes to playing time for athletes. So please consider the concept. What are you afraid of? Why wouldn't you have this conversation? All right? I'm going to come back with another video because I want to keep these a little shorter and talk about that actual conversation and why it's important to do it that way. So, yeah. Oh, now it's smoothed out. So, right when I'm finishing up. But anyway, come back to the next video, and you're going to see something that I think is really important in that conversation. Talk to you then.